Is the S&P 500 showing you a stage 3 topping pattern? And how would you know? And what is a stage 3 topping pattern? Well, that is a more advanced topic that we would get into in later stages of being an outlier. But since you're a brand new outlier, brand new subscriber, a new entry into the community, let's get you started out with some foundational steps here. So let me bring onto the stage one of my good friends, DeepThought, a fellow Outlier University graduate and our resident tech expert. He's going to help us through some of the charting questions, how to set them up, how to get your indicators in place, how to root around Discord and find some of the information that you need to look through. How you doing, DeepThought?
Yeah, well, good yourself, chat.
Oh, great. So a brand new Outlier subscriber, what's the first thing you're going to do? You're going to need to go to your account. You're going to need to log into Outlier. Now, I've already got my credentials put in, so you're going to get a pop-up. It's going to ask you to put in your credentials. You're going to need to use the email address that you used when you purchased your subscription or entered into your trial. It's going to take you right into some very familiar screens that you've seen Chris work through. This one in particular happens to be the dashboard. I know that because when I put my mouse over the icon over here in the top right, it tells me this is a dashboard. This is the same screen you would use to enter your favorite ticker. If you wanted to check out NVIDIA and see what's Outlier suggesting for a buy or sell signal for NVIDIA, this is where you would do it. This case, I happen to be looking at QQQ. It's one of the signal indicators that we use to follow for Plan ETF. Now, you want to get some experience with the other screens in Outlier, but there's a lot of information in there, right? You need to read through some documentation that'll kind of help you understand what's on those screens. And how do we get there?
Where could you find that?
We have a settings button here down at the bottom right. It looks like a gear, or almost, yeah, I guess it kind of looks like a gear. And in here you have documentation. If we just click on that documentation, it's going to open us up this really good visual guide. It's a step-by-step guide for beginners. You're going to be able to look through on the left. You're going to find your topics. You can scroll through. You can watch videos. You can watch some well, there's your credential screen here that I wasn't able to show you a minute ago. That's what you're going to see when you log into Outlier. Again, you're going to put the email address that you used to subscribe to Outlier in that box. One of the really nice features of Outlier is the Outlier 9 color-coded indicator right here, the market trend, signal, and breadth, the sector, fear and greed, and breadth, and then the individual stock, trend, signal, fear, greed, and whether or not there's outlier blocks above it. There's some in-depth topics in here as well. If I scroll down to the heat map area, it'll literally tell us what is a heat map and what does it mean? What is Chris talking about when he's concerned about this center chart on all of the stocks? He's getting numbers from each of these columns, and he's looking for trends in these columns. This is the area of the chart where the fear and greed heat map is. And just for a second, we can run over and check out one of those stocks. Open it up here. I just picked a random stock just to give you this illustration. Here is the fear and greed heat map for this particular stock. If I was to mouse over one of these columns, it's going to give me a number off on the left, right over here. That's the number that Chris is referencing when he's talking about the fear and greed value. And then the shape of this graph is what he's referencing when he's talking about the trend, whether it's moving up or moving down. Now, when you became an outlier, you received an email that gave you this very short guide. And it's short for a reason. It's kind of to give you a kickstart, give you some foundational blocks as a new member. First thing it's calling out is that gear icon, right? So that settings button that got you into the user guide that we mentioned. So let's not forget where that is. DeepThought's also going to show you where that is in Discord as well. It's the same exact guide, just 2 different ways to get to it. But then you want to go to the community area next. You've gotten access to the application. You've been able to look up your stocks. You've been able to link Chris's messaging about the market and sector signals with the software. But what about the community? Discord is that community. This is where we communicate with our fellow trend traders. We get ideas from other plans that those folks are looking through. And we do things like training and polls. So how do we get there? When we first go into Discord, we're going to have to do a verification. But how do we get there? Well, right at the bottom right of your Outlier application screen, right below settings, you have this button called Discord. Kind of looks like a game controller, really. If we click on that button, oh, actually, we have a really good video about that button here. Let me share that for you. Let me share my screen. Let's see, share tab, share, there we go. All right. This is showing you that you always need to reference the email address that you used to subscribe to Outlier. So this same email address that you're using to log into Outlier with is the same email address that you're going to need to verify with Discord. So let's go ahead and see further. All right, what we just saw the video show us is we had to type in a little command. We had to type in /verify. And then we had to have a space. Then we had to have that email address, the same email address you use to log into Outlier, the same email address that you use each time you need to get access into Outlier is the email address that you're going to use to verify. All right, that was pretty easy, wasn't it, DeepThought?
Oh, nothing too much. There we go. Let's go see. Yeah, I think one of the things that a lot of people seem to be getting wrong is the /verify command bit. And it's very important that you actually physically type out /verify and then the space. Because the space bar at the end of that /verify is what's going to bring up that little blue box for you with the email address.
Yep.
So if you try to copy and paste the entire thing beforehand and then paste it into there, then it won't work. You have to physically type it out.
That's right. That's a great tip. Make sure you have that space in there. All right. So now what you have accomplished so far is you have logged into Outlier. You've checked out the dashboard. You've probably searched for your favorite stock to see what Outlier suggests a signal may be. Now, you've gotten through the verification. You're in Discord. One of the first places you need to go is the FAQ and member contributions area. In here is a repository for all of the documentation and all of the tools that are going to be important to you as you progress through trend trading with Outlier. The user's guide, which is that same visual guide we've looked at a couple of times here, this guy right here, that's in there. The trading plan slide deck is constantly updated. Chris places in any new sell signals or buy signals, or maybe there's some new plans coming up in the future to have a look at. Those will be in there. And then you have the actual tools, like I mentioned. In this case, the multi-plan portfolio manager. There'll be some future videos on this. This is where you log all of your trades, and it'll give you an indication of your portfolio performance as well, and in which plan you're more profitable than in other plans. There's also an other cool contribution section here. DeepThought, you want to tell us what we might find in that area?
There's all sorts of bits and pieces. So a lot of the members of the Discord make little side projects, and then they'll send those off to us, and if we like them. So we have some PDF layouts, and we've got a few indicators and other bits and pieces, and those all end up in other contributions and inside the TradingView folder and the bookmarklets folder and a few others.
Awesome. And then one of the more important video places in Discord are the live stream links area. So in here, April, at the beginning of the week, places links to all of Chris's videos. The morning videos are in here. We've got the Big Bingo Monday. We've got the Lambos or food stamps. The Options Deep Dive Wednesday. Those are where Chris goes into all the options math.
Definitely my favorite day.
Yeah, it's an awesome day. And then there's Coffee with Chris Thursday. Typically, there's also a Friday video here. I guess in my screenshot, I didn't grab that. But then we have the trading room. The trading room always happens in the weekends. That's
those are the ones.
Yeah, end of the
those
day.
Are the ones, those are the ones that are exclusively only for the members of Outlier.
Exactly. Yeah, you need to be a subscriber to get these links. Otherwise, you're going to be able to catch the recordings on YouTube. As Chris likes to say, this isn't a Trust Me Bros program. All the receipts are on YouTube. You can see all the trades. But if you want them live, you need to be a subscriber so you can get access to those links. So with that, we've seen a lot of important of the items in Discord. There's one more that I want to show you here. Let's see. We have a training room chat set up specifically for our new members. So everyone that is a new member is tagged in here. And you can see one of the latest tags right here. We have a bunch of new subscribers here. This is getting called out. And each person's username is tagged. So when you first get into Discord, you're going to see a red circle with some numbers here. And that's going to call out to you that you've been mentioned. Somebody's trying to get your attention. In this case, it's probably me. And I'm trying to point out to you that we have this really awesome training area right here.
Now, Joe, if they get into the Discord and they can't see those areas, those training room channels and the general channel, and where Chris keeps his trades, and how do members go about finding those channels and putting them into that menu on the left?
Yeah, that's a really great question. A lot of times that information is going to show up somewhere on the left, and it'll say suggestions if you don't already have the channels visible. However, you can make those channels visible yourself by going all the way to the top on the left, clicking on Browse Channels. And inside Browse Channels, if you see a channel that's got a blue check, that means you're already looking at it. If you see any that do not have a blue check, it means it's not visible for you on a daily basis. So all you got to do is give it a check. In the case of training, what I would encourage you to do, this is the training category. I would encourage you to click this button right here. This is Follow Category. That's going to check all these boxes that are associated with the training category. So you're going to get playlists. You're going to get a welcome to Outlier channel. You're going to get a trading room channel. And then you're going to get the polls. Now, the polls are one of my favorites. So we just checked our box. We've got all the channels visible that we want to see. Let's go check out those polls. Today, which happens to be November 14th, we sent out a poll here that's talking about Plan ETF exit signals. It's suggesting to you that there's two answers. The question is, which of the signals are suggesting a sell to close. On this particular day, we received a triple Q sell signal, and we received a SPY sell signal. So a user like yourself would have gone into here. They would have seen, I need to choose 2 answers. They would have hit the button here to look at both of those answers and hit submit. And it would come back and give you what you're seeing here, which is all the votes. Now, if you selected something that kind of appears to be wrong because the majority of the audience didn't also pick it, well, does that mean you're right, or does it mean they're right?
But
Well, how do you know?
could find those answers somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. So right below the poll, we have this area that I like to throw in that says, hey, on our poll this day, if I wanted to find the answers, I might look right here, which is a YouTube video. I might want to look here, which is the user's guide. I might want to look at the slide deck itself, which is in the FAQ section. Or I might want to go really hardcore and techie like DeepThought, and I might want to break out Vaclav's Big Beautiful Bookmarklet. Now, if you're watching this video in the future, the bookmarklet contributions might actually already be built into the software. That's an upcoming change that we're doing. So if you can't find content about that bookmarklet, that's probably why. So I think we have covered the basics of Discord here, DeepThought. And I think something else that our folks might be interested in is the training videos. So on YouTube, on YouTube, we have an outlier training channel. It's called Outlier Training with Joe. We've got some playlists in here. And the playlists are broken out by topic. We've got our Outlier University videos here. We've got an alpha playlist, which is the original Outlier University that both myself and DeepThought were members of. That was based on the golden ticket trading strategy that Chris had been using previous to the new signals. But don't stress out that some of the content has changed, right? It starts with
it will be quite vastly different from the trading now.
It starts with foundational information, though, like what is a stock? What is a broker? How does the broker make money?
I think those are all pretty much universal concepts, aren't they?
Exactly. Yeah.
They'll go across so it's all the basics that you need to know about following trends and what EMAs are and those little bits and pieces that sort of no matter which plan you choose and no matter which strategy you choose, they will always use those basics.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a particular video in here I want to call out. It's a great video for you to go watch. I think it's number 3. And if I just pull it up here, yes, it's this one. This particular video, this is a timeless video, I would call it. So in this video, we as brand new students to Outlier University get exposed to market wizards like Mark Minervini, for instance. And there's some timestamps in the description here. We can go right to the section of the video where Chris introduces us to Mark Minervini just by clicking on this little link right here. Yeah,
it's so handy.
So Chris shows us where in his channel he has the video. It goes in and it starts, playing his video where Chris is actually interviewing him. There's other specific sections in the document here where, let's see, this one, for instance, buy high, sell higher. That's kind of the mantra that you want to follow when you're a trend trader. So check out these videos. Check out the other playlists, of course. There are training playlists as well that are not university based. There are options specific videos, again, with those timestamps in the description. There's the plan training themselves. This is a really popular playlist here. Outlier plan training. This happens to be a video based on Plan M. So let's see. If we wanted to know the market status, which is the same for all the plans, all we have to do is click here at the 1143 mark. And just like Chris said, we're going to go see what the market's telling us. So again, a great video for you guys to go check out. Well, we got access to Outlier. We logged into Outlier. We got access to Discord. We logged in. We found all the resources. We probably started chatting with our fellow trend trader community members. What is left? I bet it's charting. So let's pull up a chart here, right? Now, this is a chart that I had previously populated with just some indicators here. Now, these would not, these little labels here would not be here when you first log in because I typed them in. So kind of ignore that those are there. But every chart has candles, right? Now, DeepThought, do you want me to give the chart basics here, or do you want to run with that?
We can go through them together. It's all good.
Okay.
So awesome. Those candles essentially represent the prices of the stocks that you're busy buying or selling, or that you're wanting to buy or sell, I should say. And those candles are made up of each candle is made up of 4 separate parts. So you have an open value, a close value, a high, and a low. So let's try and see if we can try and find one where there's no blue line there, Joe, because that blue's not showing them.
Yeah, no. Okay, great. Let's zoom in on one here. How about if we find one that doesn't have a tail? How about this one right here?
That one over there.
Yeah.
All right. So that one doesn't have any tail on it at all. So that is a price of a stock that opened at a value and then closed at a value, but didn't ever push higher or lower than that open and close value. So on a red candle, the opening price is at the top and the closing price is at the bottom. And then the bottom wick will represent the lowest portion of that price during the day. And the top wick will represent the highest price during the day.
Awesome. So you just learned everything you need to know about a candle right there. You got 4 points. You got an open, you got a close, you got a high, you got a low. The reason it's colored is because it gives you an indication of which direction it went. Did it go up that day or down that day? And where did it open? Where did it close?
Oh, yeah, you can change those colors, and you can pretty much customize TradingView as much as you like. You can change the canvas color at the back. You can change what indicators you want to see and not see. You can change the candle colors. There's loads of things you can do with it, but it's a pretty hefty learning curve for a newcomer. So yeah. You know, YouTube having loads of resources on it, probably one of the best places to go and learn about how to use TradingView effectively. But for some of the bits and pieces, like the indicators that we have inside the Discord, we can run through that and show them how to add that, because that's another question I think that comes up quite often.
Yeah, for instance, DeepThought has made an indicator for all of us to use. And which is the one you recommend using now? Is it the 419?
Yeah, 419.
419. Yep. So you're gonna, I guess you would click on this, or do you hit the star, or what do you recommend?
So anything that is starred is in your favorites list. So if you look at the top of that list on the left-hand side, it says favorites, my scripts, invite only. So your favorites, that will show you all of the indicators that you've favorited over time. And to get those indicators essentially in, you can then search if you wish at the top, and you can just type in a name of an indicator, and there we go. It'll pop up for you. And then you can start it, adds it to favorite. And if you want to add it to the chart, you just click on the indicator.
Awesome. So once you get it in your list of indicators that you want to look at, let's have a look at some settings. Now, this is going to be a nice benefit for me, DeepThought, because we haven't had a chance to go through my settings yet. So you can give me an idea of what settings should be for a brand new user of the DeepThought indicator.
Okay, so settings are obviously subjective. It just depends on your style of trading. But basically for the layout that Chris uses, if you look at the top, it says trading plan M.
Mm-hmm.
And you can select either plan M or plan A. So you can switch between them. And when you switch between those, that effectively acts as your swing and your active signals, and how the plans react and how it will display that information for you on the charts. So if we're looking for plan M setups, select plan M. We're looking for plan A, then select plan A. So at the moment, we're looking for M, so you can select that.
Okay.
And then you've got long on the right-hand side, trade direction.
Yeah.
And you can either trade long or short for signals. We're only focusing on long at the moment, so select long. Right. The ATRs is something that Chris talks about quite a lot, where your roll points are, where your emergency exits are. So if you have a look at that first checkbox right at the top, it says show current plan markup template. If you click that, okay, click OK quickly at the bottom. There we go. And let's zoom your chart out a bit so we can see on the right-hand side most. If you pull it across, there we go. Right. So you see those lines that have just popped up over there, roll point 2, roll point 1, and your stops and emergency exits. Those are the metrics for plan M. So if you go back into the indicator settings and you choose, say, plan A, you'll notice that the lines, some of the lines disappear because that's a setting now for plan A. So you can see your roll points for that. So that is your essentially your markup template. So we use that to show us where to roll an option and where to get in and out, emergency exits and stop losses. And then we can draw a line physically over that afterwards.
Awesome. Yeah. So if you needed to draw a line, you could grab maybe this trend line button over here. And you've seen Chris do this before, where he will put a line right over top of this blue roll point line. And then he'll go in and edit the settings of that line. He'll say, let's see. We're just testing here right now, right? Testing,
yep.
Opening a trade. And you'll see the typing there comes up here.
And you could change the text color and the size and whatever
exactly.
you need to suit it.
And then you can also tell it where you want it to live, right? So this was obviously at 675.70. So we'll just edit this a little bit, 675.70. And then sometimes I like to put that in my text as well. 675.70 is where I opened the trade. Sometimes I also like to put the date in there as well, but we can just hit OK. So now this line is going to stay here. Even if we hide the DeepThought indicator, it'll still be there.
Here we go. Yeah. And even easier than that, if you use a horizontal ray, it does exactly the same thing, but just with a single click. Or you could make a template.
So let's see, horizontal ray. That would be right there. So all I did was, instead of clicking this button here, I clicked the arrow just next to it. And then I clicked ray. So let's see what the difference is here. So again, the blue line is just indicating today's the day I did my trade. Click there, give it the sideways ray.
That's the wrong one. You clicked ray instead of horizontal ray. That's a different one altogether.
Yes. There we go. Horizontal line.
There we go. Horizontal ray. So that will draw a line out from wherever you click to the right.
Perfect.
Whereas a line will do all the way across.
Perfect. Cool. Yeah, so you got options. So you get to try a few different things, see what you like. I know for myself, I stopped using the horizontal ray because it goes to an eternity. I like to use the, let's see, horizontal line, I think it is. Let's try it here. Nope. Yeah. That's not it either.
No, it'll be a trend line. Alt T. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, there you go. So then I can make it as wide as I want to make it. And so, yeah, try it out. Try the different things here. Another really cool one is the measure tool, where you just click on that little ruler right there. And then you can see, man, this candle's huge, right? How bad of a day was that? If I bought at the close yesterday and I followed it all the way down, how bad would it have been? 2.7%. There's been worse trades, right? Because the next day it went back up halfway up that calendar. That's just the measure tool over here on the left. So back to your indicator. What else could we look at in here?
All right. There's quite a few bits and pieces. There's lots of bits and pieces in this indicator. So your exit points, are for when your exit points get triggered, and if you want to show those on the chart or not. And then you can choose the color for what you want the text color to be and what color you want the triangle to be.
Okay.
Lock alerts to daily time frame is essentially just to ensure that if you ever get an alert, it's always on a daily time frame, because we trade on a daily time frame. And if you change to a different candle interval, like 5 minutes or an hour or 4 hours, then that stops those alerts from showing up on those charts at different time intervals. It'll only show you for daily.
Now, you mentioned the triangle, right? So this is an exit alert triangle. So could you give us an example of where? Well,
we need to find a. We're going to need to find a stock that has. Change your plan back to M quickly.
Okay.
And okay, and then I think if we go and we have a look at AMD or QQQ, one of the two. I don't think it'll be QQQ though. Something that's AMD. There we go. I don't know if it's going to be showing or not. Are you showing the blocks? Look in your settings quickly. Yes, you are. All right. It might possibly just be that it's not set up at the moment. So whenever you have, if you can find something with a 10, like a 10-20 bearish cross on it, that'll definitely trigger an exit point.
How about Cake? Didn't Cake recently go down?
I think it might have. Oh, lovely. Okay, so the reason that you're not getting an exit on that is because the crossover has already happened.
Oh, okay.
So it'll only show you an exit on the most recent candle.
Gotcha. Okay.
It won't show you a week back, 2 weeks. It'll only show you that that most recent candle, as in this is the time that it's time to get out.
Okay. So if you're looking at the most recent candle and you see a triangle above or below, it's trying to call out that there's a signal that day, essentially.
Essentially, yes.
Okay.
Let me see if I can try and find an example for you somewhere while you're busy having a look through. Right. So what else is there? There's EMAs. Oops. Showing yourself.
That's right. Whoops. Got a little click happy there.
So moving averages. So EMA 1, 2, 3, 4. And your SMA are the EMAs that we normally use, your 10, your 20, your 50. And then EMA 4 and SMA is, if you would like to use them, you can put extra values in there. You can, of course, change the values to whatever suits your trading style.
Okay.
But we
so
use
this
10, 20, 50.
Yeah, this happens to be the 10 EMA. This is the 20 EMA. This is the 50 EMA.
Yes.
Yep. Okay.
And you can change the colors for the roll points for your ATRs. So your ATR period is 14. That's the normal standard. And the roll points, stop losses, so all the lines that appear in that graphic to the right-hand side. Those are the colors for those. And then your position sizing table, which will show you how many shares to buy or how many options contracts to buy, depending on your delta and your account size. So at the moment, that's showing you share size NAN, which means no, don't trade it.
Okay. So I would put in, I'm going to trade 80 delta. In this case, I've got $100,000 portfolio, and I'm going to risk 2% per trade is what this is suggesting,
yes.
right? Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. So I would just change that to whatever my reality is.
Yes. And the table on the right-hand side is obviously then telling you that your ATR for that stock is $1.51. Your 10 EMA length between current price and 10 EMA is, what is it, $2 something? Share size says NAN because it's not a good setup for you to be buying in. So nothing is set up for that. So it's suggesting you don't buy them. And then risk amount per share shows you how much you would risk per share for that percentage. So your 2% would equate to a $3 risk per share. And then option size is how many options contracts to buy based on that 80 delta.
Okay. Awesome.
All right.
It's a nice little feature.
Here we go. So now order blocks is the thing. So this is where Chris has those order blocks that he shows on his charts. Now, this is a little bit subjective, and it depends on how you like to set things up. I'll give you my settings if you really want them, but it's not necessarily the way that everyone wants to use them. So I know Chris uses slightly different settings to what I use.
Okay, so you might recommend that we have Chris show us during a live stream what his settings
Yeah,
are.
that, or just basically just sit and bring a chart up and see how close you can get. See what each of the settings does. Change, your pruning threshold or whatever, and see how that changes the blocks and how they appear. So the ones that you will more than likely end up changing the most will be how your broken order blocks are handled. So just above that, there's a little box that says delete. So if you click on that, it'll tell you delete or freeze. So what that does essentially is when there's a block that gets broken by a price movement, it'll either delete that block or it will freeze the block in place and just make it a lighter color. So you can see where historic blocks were.
Okay, interesting. Have you personally found a preference on that?
I use delete because it makes
okay.
the chart a lot less cluttered. So I like to keep it on that. The show age of order blocks just above it. It's a little checkbox. There we go. So what that will do is when order blocks appear, they will appear and they will have a little text number in them that tells you age, X amount of days or X amount of bars.
I wonder if we can find an order.
And we will. We just need to keep changing some settings quickly.
Okay.
Right. So prune bullish order blocks from 50 EMA, you can leave that to about 3%. So you can change that to 3. And then the one that's getting rid of all the order blocks at the moment is that hide younger. So there we go. So uncheck that box. And have you shown order blocks on screen? Was the other question. And your order blocks are showing. Okay. I don't know why you're not getting this. I'm getting order blocks. What do you want, Tesla?
Interesting.
Let's go to a day chart. I know why. Look, you're in a 5-minute. No, you're in a day chart. That's weird. Okay, so my settings are showing me a order block right at the top. Your order block mitigation type. Just scroll down a little bit. Right. So there we go. See order block mitigation type. So change that to close for me. There we go. And there's an order block.
Beautiful. So if I want to know how old this order block is, I could look right here. It says it's 13 bars or periods, right? 13 periods.
13 bars. So that will be 13 trading days in a day chart.
Okay.
Awesome. So yeah, the very basics of it. But my recommendation would be that anybody who downloads it, get to know how it works. Open the settings, change bits and pieces, see how things work. If you change this setting, what does it do here? If you change this setting, what does it do there? And set the chart up in whichever way makes you feel the most comfortable, essentially.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Now you mentioned a second ago day and other periods, right? So where we would check that is right here. You if you're following Chris's plan specifically, you're going to be on a day chart. So it's going to be just the D. And what that means is every candle is one day. So this green candle, this was today. So it opened somewhere around 386. It closed around 408, right? And all I'm doing is reading the numbers over here on the right.
If you hover over the candle, it'll tell you. If you hover over the candle and you look just in the top row where you see that Tesla Incorporated 1-day NASDAQ, to the right of that, you'll see a load of stats, and that shows you the open, close, high and low of the candle. Awesome.
Now, so if you were perhaps day trading, for instance, you might be more on a 5-minute chart, right? So if we zoom in here, we can look at 5 5-minute candles. So in this case, the 5-minute means every one of these candles is 5 minutes in duration. Now that can get confusing. You want to be really, really careful when you change the period, because you could see a trend change, like right here, right? You could have been up here watching your price rise and looking for an exit. And if your plan said exit when the 10 crosses under the 20, you would have gotten right here and you would have exited. However, if your plan was on the daily candle, you did not follow a trend on a day. You followed a trend on a 5-minute candle. So you want to be really careful about that. If you go and change your periods, you want to be making your plan decisions based on the right chart.
I think inside that little drop down arrow just to the right of your 5-minute button at the top there, you can actually star those different periods. So you can, or those different intervals, so you can keep them as a favorites list. So if you want to have a 15-minute, a 3-minute, a 1 hour, a 4 hour, and a day, you just click the little star and it'll make that bar at the top and have all of those different intervals that you've chosen as favorites. So they're quick and easy. You don't have to sit and drop down the list every single time.
Awesome. Well, let's see. We're just about to wrap up here, but for the folks that are watching live, you have the opportunity to type in this chat box right here. And so if you have a question, just do a hashtag Q and then type in your question. And then we will see it on our screen and we'll do our best to answer it. Okay, let's see. Next on our list, DeepThought, is we made a lot of changes here to our chart and to our indicators. And we did a period change. I do not want to have to set this up every time I log into TradingView. So how can I save my layout?
If you take a look at the top right-hand corner, you'll see there it says Joe's Basic Layout. So right below that, you see a little blue line that says Save. And that's telling you that you've made changes to that workspace layout, but you haven't yet saved it. So if you click that, it'll save it for you automatically. And if you have the little look at that drop-down arrow on the right-hand side, that will show you all the settings for that. So you can say, I would like to auto-save it. So when you make any changes, it'll save it by itself. You can make a copy of that workspace, rename it. You can export your data. But one of the nice things is that create new layout. So if you wanted to create more than one way of looking, so let's say you like to have, I don't know, a 5-minute chart on Tesla, but you would prefer to have on ETFs, you'd prefer to have a different indicator setting, or you can create a second layout and set the chart up how you like it, including with, you say, your value zone indicator, because it's an ETF. You rename it as ETF layout. And then every time you click that layout, it'll automatically swap your indicator for you to the Plan ETF indicator, to that value zone. So it's a nice little way of just ensuring that whenever you want to have a quick change, you'll be able to just swap between those workspaces.
Awesome. That's a nice tip. Thanks. Now, let's see. We've shown all the basics here. So let's cover something that we didn't have on our radar here. Plan ETF is really popular, right? And in Plan ETF, we have just what you mentioned, which is a value zone. And the value zone is based on the 20 EMA. In the DeepThought indicator, is there a value zone, or are we still using the outlier value zone indicator?
We're using the outlier value zone currently, but I will be building that in at some stage so that people who are on a free account can still use one indicator to have everything.
Okay, awesome. So if I want to switch out my indicators because I decided not to pay for a TradingView membership, what I need to do is just hover over my indicator and hit this little eyeball right here. So that's going to hide the DeepThought indicator. Now I want to look at the outlier value zone indicator. I just hit that eyeball again, right? That's the show and the hide. So given QQQ being the one of the two signals, I guess you'd call it a ticker signal reference. We're going to look at QQQ right now. We're going to look at the value zone, right? So what are the settings of the outlier value zone? Well, it's based on the 20 EMA. The ATR is based on the 14-day period. Well, 14-day, right? We're looking at a day chart.
14-day.
So
There we go.
14 days. Yep. And we're interested to be 2 times the 20 EMA, 2 ATR above the. Yeah, right. So our multiplier is 2. So
yeah,
we want to be able to call out the 20 EMA. And we want to do it with the same color that we did with our other indicator, right? Which I'm pretty sure we used black. So that's why I have this box black. And then the upper end of the value zone, Chris, I believe, uses orange. So these are the settings that you may use if you're trying to make your chart look like his. So what does this tell us? Today's candle, November 14th, opened about 600, closed about 609, 608. The value zone is way up here. So today we're not inside the value zone. So the value zone is not lit up green. We're going to have to be
a good entry then.
Right, exactly. It would not be a good entry. So this value zone is a great way to see, is your current price near enough the 20 EMA that you should anticipate a positive trend. It's kind of what it's telling you. Okay, now we also have a 3 ATR exit. And you know, while I'm thinking of it,
3 ATR.
Yeah, while I'm thinking of it, what if I didn't know what my signals was? If I'm a new member and I'm in the outlier training room and I want to know, where is that slide deck? I could scroll through some suggestions here and they're going to point me towards the slide deck. Or I could go to the FAQ and member contribution area. I could find the training plan and I could open up the document. This is the exact slide deck that we're all using as outlier community members. And if I'm, again, trying to see if today is the day to be in Plan ETF, I can just scroll down here to Plan ETF. And I can start looking at my signals. So what you just heard DeepThought and I mentioning was the value zone. That is this signal right here. We need to be less than 2 ATR above the 20 EMA. So that is the signal that we're interested in. Now there's also an exit 3 ATR above the 20, whether you're in the Qs or the SPY. And so that's what I've just mentioned a second ago on the value zone. How do we know where 3 times the ATR above the 20 is on our chart? So let's slide back over to our chart. And do we have the Keltner indicator? I think it's right here.
Oh,
the key.
Now, Joe, did you know? Did you know? It's been updated.
Oh,
that
nice.
Is now included. That's now included in the new one. So if you pop on back to Discord quickly.
All right, let's do it.
And you go into FAQ and you go to TradingView. So FAQ is already, go to the TradingView section. There you go. Right, so if you scroll down on the right-hand side there, also up in this case, there we go, you'll see value zone. Whoa, no, down a bit. Down a bit, too much. Too much. Go down, and that's the one there, value zone. So click on that link over there, that blue link. Right, now click add to favorites at the top right-hand corner. All right. Okay, if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see there's a button on the left that says use on chart. Yep, if you click that, and it'll open a new chart for you. So, okay, you need to change your ticker because it's gone back to Tesla for some reason. So you can QQQ, there we go. So,
that's interesting, okay.
There you go.
So now I don't have to have the Keltner channels listed. That's fantastic.
It's already all done for you. So if you look right at the top of that, you'll see there's a red line. That is your 3 ATR.
Perfect.
All
That's
built in for you.
a great tip. Thanks for showing me that, DeepThought. Awesome.
No worries.
All right. Let's see. We have a question. If we are a stock investor, should we just ignore the roll points? Well, let's see. I think that there's a discussion of roles on one of the plans currently, right? Is it Plan M? Is it Plan M? And let's see. Isn't it half ATR roll point on Plan M, if I remember right?
Yes, your
Mhm.
first roll point is half ATR.
Right.
But
Now,
I think
if you're
a straight stock investor, you can't roll stock. You only
yeah.
roll the options.
Yep, exactly. Plan M and Plan A are focused on options. Now, you could just choose not to trade an options contract, especially if you're new and you're using real money. And you could trade the stock itself. You just can't roll. But what you could do in your learning journey is you could paper trade. I know ThinkorSwim has an opportunity to paper trade, and I'm sure other platforms do as well. And paper trading is fake money, but it follows the real stock market pricing. So you could see how to get familiar with trading options contracts. The options chain screen is very complex, right? And when you first open it, you're like, what on earth am I looking at? And paper trading gives you an opportunity. Yeah, paper trading gives you an opportunity to look through it and learn and make mistakes and test out your plan as you develop it. Now,
yeah, I think that's pretty much the best advice that you can give anybody is just paper trade it. Honestly, learn the basics, paper trade, and get used to where to click, how much to do things, so that when it gets to a point of you actually doing trades, you don't get freaked out, you don't panic, you just have a nice smooth execution and it's done.
Yeah. Now, Plan ETF's a little different. So Plan M and A, like I mentioned, are really focused on options contracts, but you could trade stocks instead. Plan ETF is trading ETF, exchange trade fund, and it's a collection of stocks. An ETF is a collection of stocks that have some commonality, right? In this case, we're getting signals off QQQ, so it's tech-based. It just doesn't have finance, if I recall. The last time I looked it up, there's a bunch of stocks, just not finance stocks. And you're trading shares. You're trading shares of an ETF. In this case, you could decide to trade the triple Qs instead of a leveraged ETF. You could just trade shares of QQQ. Millions of people get into SPY and QQQ and just throw their money at it every paycheck, right? It's a very common thing to do. But what you could do is take that to the next level, and you could start looking at signals. And you could use Outlier to tell you when there's an uptrend in QQQ, right? So how would we find that? We go to our dashboard. We type in QQQ, which I don't have to because it's already open, but, demonstration purposes, let's do it. And is there an uptrend? Well, look at this. We've got a green backdrop that automatically tells us we have an uptrend, but we can verify it because the 10, the blue, is over the 20, the black, and the price, which is right here, the bottom of the red candle. Remember, we learned a little bit ago, red candle at the bottom, that's the close price. The close price is above the 50. So right now, the QQQ ETF is in an uptrend. And
you also tell that from the outlier 9 on the right hand side.
Yeah, absolutely, that's right. Yeah, right here, green button. So yes, you could definitely trade shares of the triple Qs just as easily as you can trade shares of the leveraged QQQ. This means your price action would change 3 times the price action of the triple Qs, which comes with risk. You definitely want to understand that there is risk with leverage ETFs, but it's something to think about. If you want to just trade stocks, definitely, just trade stocks. I started out trading stocks. I will tell you, I had no plan. I got lucky. I also lost. Like, it was gambling, really. And I didn't realize it at the time. So yeah, you can definitely just trade stocks. Okay.
Yeah,
Hi, gentlemen. Great to have you doing this training for us new members. Quick question. In TradingView, we've got 2 indicators free. I have the ThinkorSwim account. Is one better than the other? And how do I get scripts for ThinkorSwim? Well, I'm going to open up Discord, and we're going to have DeepThought run us through how to find ThinkorSwim scripts.
More David's department, that, but yeah, so that actually hasn't got any in it at the moment. That ThinkorSwim, we're busy in the process of migrating everything across to there. So if you go into your main browse channel section at the top there, one up, there we go. Right, so if you scroll down, somewhere in there is you can actually search for it at the top. Just type in ThinkorSwim. There we go. ThinkorSwim scripts, and then you can tick the box. And if you scroll down, ThinkorSwim, right, and in there is essentially everything that is ThinkorSwim related. So you'll find a lot of David, another one of our Outlier graduates, and he exclusively uses ThinkorSwim, so he's very knowledgeable on it. So if you have a question, really decent thing, just pop in there and have a chat with him, and he'll be more than happy to help you out.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for that. Let's see. I think those were the only 2 questions we had, so we'll go ahead and wrap it up. But we do anticipate more of these videos in the future, and you will find the recording in the trading outlier training room that I showed you in YouTube just a minute ago. You'll find the recording, and I'll go ahead and put timestamps in there as well. So you'll just be able to
thrown into the playlists in the YouTube channel as well.
Yeah, exactly. So definitely recommending you subscribe to that channel so you get notified when there are new videos put up. So yeah, thanks for joining me here, DeepThought. I appreciate it, and great technical responses here. And we'll catch you all on the next one. You know what we need to do is we need to pick a really cool song. We need to pick a song. How about Why Did I Sell Those Options for Pennies? How about Sitting Cash? Right now we're sitting in cash. Let's do that one.
Let's do that one.
Check the charts, they're flat as toes. No trend, no spark, no reason to boast. The market sideways, breadth is weak. No setup today, no profits to see. But that itch in my fingers says, come on, take a swing. I know where that leads, it's a dangerous thing. Discipline whispers, don't chase, don't bluff. The smartest trade now is to not mess it up. So just sit in cash and don't F up. Let the noise fade down, let your patience fill your cup. The rules are the rules, they're what lift you up. Just sit in cash and don't F up. Could buy Vaclav, let the interest flow while the crowd plays games in a choppy show. I've seen the back test, I know the score. Forcing trades today just lowers returns more. Weeks might go by, that's the test of the game. The payoff comes later, it's always the same. Don't fall for the FOMO, don't call the bluff. The strongest edge is knowing when enough is enough. Just sit in cash and don't F up. It's the hardest move, but it's how you level up. The chart will break out, the waiting is tough. Just sit in cash and don't F up. How long should you wait? As long as it takes. A trend will appear and that's when you stake. So smile, sip your coffee, let the market shake. The best risk is the one you don't caution, don't F up.